if you want to get close to your child in a way that most fathers, most men don't get a chance to, then I would definitely recommend it. Because I've made a bond with my son that I think I never would have been able to make if I wasn't able to be a stay-at-home father the way I have been for like the last 2 years.
Your situation, when you're saying that, that's why, again, I don't want to be the devil's advocate or anything. I'm speaking really from my heart when I'm hearing this. You have a one-off situation, sir. That's what you have right now when you're describing that. And the foundation of what you brought up has to deal with your woman's religious value and underpinning.
Sure.
Most women are not, they're not doing that. They're not religious to that degree that they're going to tolerate a man staying at home for majority of the time while they are, quote, bringing home the bacon.
Sure, but that's why I say this is just different beliefs, because even, what does that mean, tolerate? That sort of implies as if what I'm doing is negative or I'm not carrying my weight in any way.
It would, I would say.
But perception, I think perception is big on this in the sense of what you're saying makes sense in your case when you start thinking of it. And like for you to say what makes it this and what makes it that, that's a valid question you're asking. But of course, she has her own family. You have your own family. Everyone has opinions as well. And whether their opinion works with, what you're doing or not, they're still going to have that opinion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And why? Because the traditional aspects of marriage and the aspects of what the man is supposed to do and what the woman's supposed to do. So for yourself, did you have to deal with that with family members? Did you have to deal with that with friends? Just because they might have a different scenario, did you have to explain it to them? Were people curious to know about that, or people don't really have much to say about, that fact of your life?
I'd say it's mixed. I would say, amongst like my own circle of friends or family, not that many people were either surprised or shocked or it didn't need much explaining. I think I always get a curious reaction from people when sort of either I'm working, I work 2 nights a week. I usually get a curious reaction from people when they ask what I do as for a living, and I say, "Oh, I'm a stay-at-home father." So I find generally, that's when it needs to be explained. But within my own circle, not so much.
Why do you say that? Why do you say when someone asks you what you do? Why do you say that you're a stay-at-home father? And as an alternative, why don't you say, "I take care of my family"? Why is
I think
don't that bring a shock?
I think it's also just a cultural thing, because I think that's the most common term that people use is I'm a stay-at-home father, I'm a stay-at-home parent. That's why I don't say specifically, "Oh, I'm taking care of my family." I think people, when they ask that question, they're looking for a title. And the specific title for that generally is a stay-at-home father.
But I think the shock value, I think what Jariah is trying to say is there wouldn't be such a shock value if you just said, "I'm taking care of my family."
Or apprehension,
Right?
Yeah, but I mean, that's not that specific, in a sense that people
need to be specific.
No, that's
because they're asking what I do for a living. If I say I'm taking care of my family, that's not what they're looking for. They're asking for my profession. If I say I'm taking care of my family, they could be like, well, what does that mean specifically?
But you see,
what do you mean you're taking care of your family?
Then if let's say I was doing what you're doing, and someone asked me that, I would say, "I'm taking care of my family," and they'll say, "I'm looking for a profession," and I'll say, "Well, this isn't a profession. This is the calling. This is what I'm onto. I don't have a profession that will suit your taste right now, or that will suit what you're looking for." Because what I'm saying is like, that there is a reaction that people get when you say you're a stay-at-home father, because that's not a profession.
Sure.
So even if you tell them that that's not a profession, they're going to say, "What? That sounds like," some might look at it like that's like a person that's like degenerate, leeching.
Yes, that is
with all respect.
right. With all due respect,
as I sit and I analyze you and I watch you, I see your intention. So to me, I think it works for you, and I think I see what you're onto. I watch. I'm like, okay, this is really just a one-off situation.
Yeah,
no,
others,
it's not though.
They can't implement this.
It's not though. But look, but the thing is,
like a decent
if you
like this,
but it's more recent. It's more recent. It was in a situation where he was making. He was the breadwinner at a point in time, and then due to the fact that they moved. So that's why that's why his wife took the role of now being the breadwinner because she got an opportunity elsewhere, and now he has to look for his own opportunity within the country that he's in now.
Mhm.
So it just the dynamic switched in that sense.
Would you be a stay-at-home pops? That's what I'm saying too. That would you be a stay-at-home father if you were offered a $2.7 million contract a year? You wouldn't stay at home.
No, of course not.
So that's why I'm trying to say that there's a financial imperative here that to me, the primary reason as to why you stay at home has to deal with the lack of opportunities that was presented to, as I see you, as an able-bodied man that might even be successful if these, dare I say, fuckers of society don't impede on perhaps, because that's what he's describing when I first heard when he said he came here, that immigrant kind of layer, what I'm hearing,
the financial,
right?
that's the biggest factor when it comes to dealing with the family.
And the thing that I want to speak on the woman element, because no women are here right now. If they hear this, or when they hear this, it comes across as someone that isn't ambitious. As I'm right beside you, you look listen, if I had an issue, I'll say you look like you are an ambitious man. So I'm seeing the formula you have with your wife, I might even say might be a blessing. That's why I keep saying it's one off. Whereas some other males, I might even say that there's some men that are factoring in, and like I know some niggas that I know that they'll be doing this, but they're not doing it because of righteousness or because their woman is religious. They're doing this because, such as some of the women that might be hearing, it's like you almost want to call them a bum, which this is not what I'm saying you are, right? Because there's a distinction.
You're right. There is a distinction, and I think Jiraiya got it right there, because there is a distinction, and maybe that's what needs to be cleared, because for your perspective, when you're describing it, and when we look at you and we see, your mannerism, how you present yourself and everything like that, we can tell that, this is something that is working, not
it's not
something
that
is
no, definitely not
something that's like, oh yeah, like, she's taking care of me, I'm looking kind of raggedy, no haircut, no nothing, and I'm just kind of living off her dollar, right? So, but there are those type of men, and that's why when he's talking about the degeneracy of it and people thinking leechy, because we've always heard of these stories. How much times have we heard of, like,
from a woman too?
Yeah,
from a woman saying that man was eating off of me, he didn't have a gig, and all these
women
type of
paying
things.
certain guys' bills. Actually, I had a situation which is hilarious. A funny example. I was getting a braid up, right? So I ended up getting a braid up by this woman, and she had a situation not similar to your situation, but it's like a baby father type of scenario where they had a kid together, and he had a job that was paying good, and he had his own place when they first met, before they had a child. So he was set up and he was good. So now they conceived this, or